Hey guys, this is Nick with EDC Mag, and today I want to talk about Wii knives, specifically the Wii Chimera. Now, this is the 814A, and there was an A and a B. There were only two versions released, and apparently they were somewhat limited. Now, this knife is just shy of a 4-inch blade. It's a clip point blade, it's S35EN. The scale is all titanium. The clip, the back spacer, pretty much everything is titanium with ceramic bearings, and it is a very smooth flipper. Now, they came out with the prototype and started teasing this thing about May of last year, 2018, and then brought it to Blade Show and released it shortly after. And man, what a knife. When I saw this knife, now Wii has a lot of cool knives. If you've never tried a Wii knife, you need to. You need to get your hands on one. I had no idea when they released these that they were going to be a limited release or they were going to go so fast. I kept my eyes out and followed them closely. And when we came out on IG and said, hey, these are going to be available in 10 days. And this is the day that they hit. I don't know if it was Knife Center, Blade HQ, one of those big guys online. I ordered one the very first chance second that they were open. And come to find out, they were somewhat of a limited release. And right now, Blade HQ actually has some that just came out that are left-handed models, and people are buying those because that's, they want one and that's what's available. Every time I put this thing on IG in photos, people reach out to me and try to buy it, and it's just a really cool knife. It's the finish on this thing is just very unique. The design is very unique. It's called a chimera, which is a Greek mythological creature, but I think the point of the name, and this is just, my theory on it, chimerism is actually a thing that it's rare. It's a condition that humans can have where they're actually made up of two sets of DNA. You have a dominant set. For example, there's a woman in California who absorbed her twin in the womb, and she has chimerism. So she actually has two full sets of DNA within her, and it just kind of makes me wonder. Now, I did reach out to Wii and ask when they first brought this prototype out, because they make a lot of knives for different makers, and I asked them who the designer was on this, and they said that this was actually an internal Wii design, which I thought was really cool as well, because they make so many cool knives for so many cool people. It's really neat to see that they can, come out with something this amazing on their own. Now, there were a ton of things I liked about this knife. One of the things that stood out almost immediately to me was on most knives, on a lot of knives, you'll see, custom knives as well, you'll see all the attention paid to the show side, and then you might have a nice clip, a fancy clip, something like that. But on this knife particularly, the lock side is just as good, if not better looking, than the show side, I think. In a custom knife, you would call this a full dress, because attention, this is not left bare. Attention has been paid to every inch of this knife. Now, as a production knife, I guess you could call it that, because technically that's what it is. Full dress means every inch of the knife something's been done to it, something's been addressed. The clip on this is really amazing. It goes in and out of pocket really easy. I would love to see a ball clip on this, but it's not. It's a production knife, it's not a custom knife, so it's not necessary. It'd be neat. I'm sure you could have one done, but as an added touch. But these things are neat, and another one of the things I really liked about this knife was the tallness of this blade. Yeah, it's a 4-inch blade. By the way, this thing weighs about 5 ounces. So for a 4-inch knife, it doesn't feel like a 4-inch knife. It doesn't carry like a 4-inch knife. It, at only 5 ounces, that's pretty good. I mean, it's got weight reduction even on the inside on the scales. I doubt I'm going to be able to see that. I don't have a flashlight in front of me here, but just to give you an idea, let's do our Kershaw comparison here. Give you a little bit of an idea of the size. So this is 3.2. This is, let's just call it 4. Round up a very small amount. So I like tall blades, and a lot of the WE knives that are 4-inch blades, you can get the length. WE has quite a few models that are 4 inches. This is the 612, but you just don't have the tallness here. So you get the length. Now this is about 4.5 inches, so you're going to save on weight, which means a lot to a lot of people. I mean, that's important to a lot of people that want to EDC a 4-inch knife. I mean, weight is relative, much like everything else. So you can still get the length, but personally, I like a taller blade. I like a thicker blade. A 5-ounce blade to me is nothing in my world of EDC. So neat designs. My very first WE was the 701. I was new to knives. I had heard about WE, and this came up as an opportunity for a trade. As you can tell on this, now this was the liner lock, and this was retailed at $100. So this is $253. This was $100. And when I got this knife, the very first time I had heard about how well the action was on these, and how great it was, and the first time I flipped it, I was just like, oh, that's a game changer right there. I've been hooked on WE ever since. Now, WE makes a lot of knives for a lot of different makers. HEA, VDK, just a ton of them out there, and I've had 4 or 5 knives made by WE that were WE brand. I've had even more like VDK. WE makes all of VDK's knives. So when you're out there and you're looking at different makers, custom makers that have gone and decided to make either a production version of something or a mid-tech, if you find out that, hey, WE is doing this for them, then immediately you know that, boom, that's going to be a quality knife. It's going to have everything you want in a knife as far as fit and finish. I've had a lot of VDKs, and they've all just been absolutely phenomenal. So if you've never tried a WE, and they have a lot of designs, but if you've never tried a WE, but there's another knife out there that's made by WE, any of them, you've got to try one. You've just got to, because they just make a superior product. They really do. They're not into a lot of the shady stuff that we see in the knife world. As far as Chinese-made knives, there's a lot of things out there we see that are questionable. WE does not that I have ever seen, involve themselves in that type of stuff. So we've got the WE Chimera. It is a 4-inch knife, superior knife. If you get a chance to get your hands on one, definitely take it. These things are rare, like Chimerism. They're very rare. I think this knife maybe started out as 2 designs, 2 different DNAs. I don't know. I mean, this thing looks, it looks a little apocalyptic. It looks a little battle worn, but at the same time, it behaves like it's, civilized and educated. So, you've got two different competing DNAs in the same knife. That's just my theory on it. Other than the fact that I know this was designed in-house by WE, I don't really know where the name came from, but Chimera, both pronunciations are actually correct, however you want to do it. These things are just super cool. So there you go. If you ever get a chance, if you've always been curious about WE knives and just haven't ever put your hands on one, if you get a chance, people are like, well, I don't know where to start. Well, they do have a lot of models, but man, you can't go wrong. Now they've started a budget line called Civi, which are even less, and just from what I've heard, very, very good quality, superior knives. But, grab a WE. Definitely grab a Chimera if you get a chance. But if those are out, get yourself a WE. Just try one, and I don't think you'll regret it. Hey, this is Nick, and with EDC Mag, I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're just getting started here, but we're having a lot of fun. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Thanks.